Today we are going to talk everything about SwiftUI tab views. Now, tab view is a little bit unknown in SwiftUI, so that's why I decided today I'm going to cover everything about tab view. Yeah, you heard that right, everything, the first time also. We are going to talk about how you can create a tab view styles, how you can add a badge, how you can switch between tabs programmatically, and all of that also on iOS and macOS. So yeah, we are going to have a lot of fun today. Let me just show you what we are going to build out. And this is kind of my demo project. We are going to start off from scratch, but basically this is the end project. You will see a link in the description where you can get all the resources and of course this project that will be on GitHub also. So yeah, basically this is it. And we can just go to the home, to the profile, switch tab to home, switch to profile. Hello, Bogra. I hope I didn't spell your name out incorrectly. Yeah, so go ahead and say hello on the chat. I'm always monitoring this. If you have any questions, go ahead and ask them. I'm available here. I'm always looking for that. Hello, Agatha. I'm always looking forward to your questions right over here. It could be anything about iOS development. Of course, we're going to talk about tab views today, but yes, let me know. So yeah, basically that's it. This is what we are going to build out today. Tab views all the way. And we are going to start off from scratch. We are going to start with the easiest way of creating tab views, and then we're going to move on to more advanced and then becoming a master at tab views. So go ahead and check out the caption, the chapters right over here. If you do want to jump to more advanced stuff, or yeah, just go ahead and check also the captions out. They will be available after our live. Okay, so let's start off from scratch. I will stop this and let's create a new project. And it will be a multi-platform project because all of this will work also on macOS. And I will show how macOS will look like. I'm not going to bother on the demo project, but we are going to take a look at while we are building this out. But yeah, this also works with macOS apps. So make sure that you select multi-platform and app. Let's click on next right over here. Product name, well, let's just go tab view example. And let's click on next here. I'm just going to drop it right over here, creating a Git repository in my Mac. You will see the link with the final project in the description. Let's click on create over there. And yeah, we have just started a brand new Xcode project. This is it. And yeah, it's just the vanilla project. So what we want to do here is just add the simplest tab view possible. So I'm just going to remove this part and just go tab view and just select the initializer with the content. And let's just add in here a text of maybe a 1 and then another text of 2. Okay, so this is the most simple example that I can give you. That's a tab view. Let's build and run. And let's see what we got till this point. So I'm going to go one step at a time. As you can see here, we have one. And I don't know if you can notice this, but actually this is not really in center. So there is space right over here for the actual tab bar. So if I tap right over here, you see, it just changed to 2. If I tap right over here, it just changed to 1. Of course, we are going to build upon this, but basically that's it. If we will have here our tab view. And of course, we can have a tab view style. So tab view style, and there's automatic a page or a page with index display mode. So I'm just going to choose this one because this is the most interesting one, and you can have here always, automatic, or never. Let's just go with always. If you don't want those, and you will see in just a second that index display, then you don't need that. So now we will actually not have any tabs right over here. You see, it's just going to swipe all the way up, and right over here, let me just find it. Yeah, as you can see, now it's highlighted because I kind of dragged and dropped. So I'm just swiping right over here. Let's just go and select 1 right now. So, oh, sorry, 2. And now we can just go back to 1. There we go. So it's just going to switch. This is kind of a paged view. And yeah, it's a tab view with a tab view style of page. In that display mode, if you set it to never, then you will not have that kind of index display view at the bottom. So that's how you just create a tabbed page, basically. But we don't want that, so we don't really need this. We are going to talk about the tab view and how we are going to use that in our applications. Okay, so we have this text 1 and 2, but yeah, this is kind of cumbersome. Let's create a helper file right over here. It will be a SwiftUI view, so let's check that. And I'm just going to call it root view. Okay, so we are going to use this root view, and to differentiate between those tabs, I'm just going to add in here a title, so we can provide that. It will be of type string, and for now, let's just add that title right over here. So when we are creating our tab view, we are going to go with root view, and then a title of maybe home, and then another root view of title person, or not person, let's just go profile. Okay, so that would be our profile. Let's see it now. Hello, Raj. Hello. Welcome to the to our live stream. And this is, I always get this error. This is why I don't really like previews in tutorials. So I would need to add in here this title as a property, but I'm just going to simply remove that. Let's hit Command R again, and now it should build really nice. So we have hello home, and if we tap right over here, hello profile. So finally, let's just add these tab items, because I don't really like tapping on this kind of invisible tab bar. So let's just go into the content view, and what we need to do here is just add a tab item. There we go. And here, let's just start off with a simple image, and it will be a system name, and let's just use house. And the same goes, I'm just going to copy this out and paste it in here. Let's just use person. So here is where the person comes in. Let's build and run again. And now we will see kind of something resembling to a tab view. So if we tap right over here, we have our hello profile and our hello home. Yes, really nice. Okay, so that's kind of the basics. Now, if we want to have more flexibility, we need to learn a little bit more. And that's where our selected kind of selection comes in. And if you recall, we had an initializer with the tab view. Let me just start off and type that out. So tab view, we had the content and one with the selection. So we are going to use now the one with the selection. So for that, we need a binding. And that binding, let's just start off with a simple binding of an int value. So we are going to create a private state variable and just call it selection. And the default value, let's just let it be 0, and then just go selection for the initializer and $selection. So now if we build and run, we will not see any difference according to our last build and run, but now we have actually the opportunity to choose the selection automatically. So what does this mean? Well, if we set this to 1, then the tab view will know that it has to present the selection of 1 for our tabs tag. And this is how we add our tag. So let's just tag this with 0, and then let's just tag this with 1. Okay, so now we will be presented with a profile first when we launch the app. So this is something that it's really useful, because yeah, maybe you don't want to go with the default of the first tab being shown. And this is a good use case. By the way, if we just go back here to 0 and we just change it, you will see now it starts with the 0th tab. And basically that's it. Now let's move this back to 1 because I really like that the profile is presented. And let's just learn a little bit more about this tab item. Well, it turns out that you can go with images, as you can see already here. And one thing to note, if you take a look at it, these are filled images, and the system name, you didn't have to add in .fill like so right over here. It automatically infers that and it uses the right type of system image. So what else can we do here? Well, we can just add a text of, maybe let's just have this as home, and then right over here let's have a text of profile. Really nice. So now we will have kind of something resembling to the old type of fashion of tab views. We have that home and profile text right beneath them. Now you might think that we could just add in here any type of view. Well, actually we can't. And TK, hello there. Welcome to the tab view, everything you need to know about tab views tutorial. So yeah, as I mentioned, you cannot add a V stack or a horizontal stack or any other thing. You cannot add backgrounds here. You can just add an image or an image and a text. And you don't even have to add a vertical stack for this to be shown inside the vertical. It will infer that this is a vertical one. Now, what else can we do here? Well, let's just add, and this is in iOS, new in iOS 15, we can add a badge. So we could just go and badge, and there are multiple ways of doing this. Let's just go with the first one with the count. Let's just go with free. Let's hit Command R right over there, and now we have a badge of free. Of course, you can bind this to a state variable if you wish to, and then you can just change this on the fly. But yeah, basically that's it. Or if you just want to add maybe an exclamation mark, you can do that like so. Or you can also add it as a text. But yeah, basically that's it. Let's just go with 42 plus, because sometimes this plus sign is also really nice to have in there. So yeah, there we have it. We have a badge, and of course you can add the badge on the other one also. Okay, so selection. Of course we can have this. Now you know that how we can just set the initial selection. But what if I want to change this on the fly, like maybe on the root view, any of the root views, I want to switch between those. And basically I'm just going to switch, but you will understand that you can just navigate, you switch to any of the tabs with this way. So let's just see this. Let's just have here, let's say a VStack. And then let's have a button, and let's have it as an action and the label text. And how would we kind of name this? Well, if the title is, so the title is home, we would just have in here, let's just see, switch to profile, and otherwise we would just switch to home. And let's just add here switch tab to switch tab to, there we go. So switch tab to either profile or home. And yeah, this is where we would switch our, this is the action where we would switch it. But how do we actually move our selection into our root view? Well, that's pretty easy. You just you are just going to create a binding. So at binding var, and that's selection of type int. And now we would just see if, again, the title, if title equals home, that means that we want to switch to the profile. Otherwise, we are going to switch back to home. So in this case, we would just have the selection on to be 1, and otherwise the selection it would be 0. Okay, of course, now we need to update our root view right over here. So we just go selection and bind that private state variable also right over here, selection, and binding it to our private state variable. Okay, let's see that. So now we are on the profile and it says switch tab to home. So if we tap on that, you see, we just went to the home, and then switch tab to profile is presented. So let's just tap on that. Here we go. It's really, really nice. And of course, if we tap right over here, that still works. If we tap right over here, it's just going to switch that. Really, really amazing. But as you can see, I was kind of, really this selection, and then you just move that over there. It's kind of cumbersome. That's what I'm trying to tell you. So let's make it a little bit easier. So that's why I'm going to create a tabs observable object. So let's create a new file, Swift file, and then you just go tabs. Okay, let's create that. Let's import SwiftUI right over here, because we are going to create a class of called tabs of type observable object. Okay, why do we need an observable object? Well, because we are going to have a published variable called selection, there we go, and of type int, and its default value would be 0. So now if we go back to our content view, instead of this state variable and moving all of this around, now we can, let me just comment this out. Now we can just create a private state object and then just have it as tabs of value, tabs. Okay, that's fine. And now, because we don't have this selection, we need to do a little bit of refactoring. We just add tabs dot selection for the tab views selection. And actually, we are not going to need this, so I'm going to remove that. Therefore, under the root view, I'm going to comment that out. And I'm going to go in the content view and just add that state object as an environment object. There we go, tabs. Therefore, I can just, on the root view, I can just simply grab it as an environment object. So add environment object, private var and tabs of type tabs. Now I can now have tabs dot selection and tabs dot selection right over there, and basically that's it. Let's see if all of this changed it. Okay, so build succeeded. Okay, now of course, because the tabs has the initial selection of 0, we are starting off on home. That's perfectly fine for now. And now if we tap right over there, we just switch the profile. Switching back, tapping on the tab items also works. So really, really nice. Now let's take this a little bit further, because as you can see, the selection is set to 1. And if you do want to set this to, it's set to 0. And if you do want to set this to 1, then you would just need to find the tabs and change this to 1. But yeah, let's just leave this to 0 and let's create a custom initializer. So let's create our init right over here. And I'm just going to grab the selection, set it to the default value of 0, and then we just go self dot selection, and this should be called initial selection. Okay, and we are going to set that published variable's initial selection to the one that we created in the initializer. So now on the content view, when we are creating these tabs, there will be 2 initializers that we can choose from. The one with the default value, that's set to 0, and the one where we actually set the initial selection. Let's set this to 1. Let's build and run right now. So it's much, much easier. Now you can see we have the profile right over there. Yes, really, really nice. Okay, that's kind of made our lives really, really easy, but still, I'm not really satisfied with this, because you see, we are having these 1s and 0s, and what do they mean at all? So 0, well, actually it's index 0, index 1, but I don't really know which is the profile, which is the home. So let's fix that also. So let's make our lives easier. Let's create an enum right over here. Let's just call it tab, a simple enum, and that would have a case of home and profile. So now instead of having a selection of int values, we are going to have a selection of tab. And let's just have it as home, for example. Also, on the initializer, we're just going to go tab and equals dot home. So that would be our default initial selection, basically. And now we need to change a little bit of things on the content view and maybe on the root view also. So now we are not going to have this initializer of the tabs. Let's just comment that out. But instead on the selection, we are going to have maybe profile. And now you can see that we just add a dot and we instantly know what options we have and of course what do we prefer. Now one thing to change here is instead of this tag, we want to go and tag this to our tab dot home. Also, we, right over here, we want to tag this to our tab dot profile. And yeah, so that sets this thing up on the content view. Now let's go to the root view. We do have our tabs, but the selection, of course, is not an int value. So now we would just go and select the profile right over here and then the home right over here. Okay, let's build and run. And yeah, we should see the same thing basically. Let's just switch to tab home and then to tab profile. Let's see if all of this works. Okay, really nice. Okay, so this is fine. This is great, but let's just move this a little bit further because we don't really see the line, the divider right over here. So for that, we would need actually a list. So let's create a list right over here. So we have our button and let's just add that button also inside the list. There we go. We have a list. And then we would just have, let's say, a navigation title. And let's have a navigation title added right over here. So now we know that, okay, we are in fact in that type of root view. But for that navigation title to be shown, we actually want to have a navigation view. Now, this is how we create our navigation view. Let's just go with navigation view right over here. And now here comes the question. Do we add only the root view inside the navigation view, or do we add the tab item and the tag also? Well, actually, this is how you want to do this. Let's hit Control-I by selecting everything and then indenting it, because we want to have only the root view inside the navigation view, and the tab item should be also on the navigation view. Okay, let's just indent this also, and let's build and run. Let's see how this looks like. It's a little bit better. As you can see, we have this, and if we just switch right over there, it's really working fine. So let's add a dummy for each view right over here. So for each, and let's just have 0 till 99, and then ID, and then let that be self. And then we would have an index right over here and in. Okay, so I really want to have here kind of a navigation, because we do have a navigation view. So let's create a navigation link, and let's choose the one with the title and the destination. Okay, so this would be index, and let's just have that index added there. The destination, well, actually, I'm just going to use a simple text right over here, and let's add the title maybe. And I can see that Roman says JSON from URL to the table view. How does it work? JSON from URL to table view. Yeah, that's really complicated. So first of all, we don't have table views in SwiftUI. We have grids or lists, or a for each view inside, so with a scroll view. And the JSON, I do believe I do have a video on how you can handle JSON formatting, and then you just want to have also a model for that. So it's a little bit complicated, Roman. If you do want me to go through with it, go ahead and check out rebeloper.com/mentoring, when you can meet me on a one-on-one Zoom call and I can just explain all of this to you in 1 hour. It's about an hour, so go ahead and check that out. So I'm just going to add in here our title and then also our index. Okay, looks nice. Let's see that in action. And now we should see also that we have this divider. It looks really nice. Now it's kind of looking like a fully fledged tab bar with the tab view with the tab bar. Okay, and if we just tap on maybe index 2, there we go, we are on the profile. Let's go back to home and then index 6 maybe, home/thing, and that's it. So this is how you would just add a list, so you can see this basically right over here, like this UI for that. Talking about UI, let's take a look at how this looks like on the macOS side, because we built all of this. It's really great. It looks nice, but how does this look on a macOS side? So let's stop this and let's select our target for macOS and let's build and run, and let's see how all of this looks like. And maybe we are going to have a little bit of changes to be made. Roman says, okay, thank you. You are very welcome and hope to see you inside the mentoring session. Okay, so yeah, so this is kind of the tab view. As you can see, we have home. It's just going to switch back and forth. This is really nice. And then we have this index 0, home, home 3, home 5. Let's go to the profile also, maybe 10. And of course we can scroll if we needed to. Let's just go maybe right over here. And if we tap on switch tab to home, it works as expected. Switch back to profile. There we go. And as you can see, the navigation links opened view stays over there. But I don't really like this right over here. It's kind of strange looking. So let's have a padding over there. So on the content view, I'm going to add in here dot padding. Okay, so let's build and run and see how that looks like. Much nicer. So you can see now it's really nice, looking awesome. So let's check that out, how this looks like on the iOS part, because now we changed some things. And yeah, you always want to go back and forth with this, because now you see we added this padding and it doesn't look nice at all. We have this padding right over here. So what you want to do is just limit this padding on the macOS part. So we just go and say if OS, and the name would be macOS. If we are on the macOS, and we would just have this and if we are on the macOS, then just add me this padding, otherwise don't bother. So we are not going to add that. So now we have this really nice tab view that we created on iOS. Let's stop and have a macOS example right over here. Okay, build has succeeded, really nice. And that's it. Now, if you do want to learn how to manage navigation as a pro, maybe you want to pop back to root, maybe you want to have a deep link navigation, go ahead and check out this video right over here.